beer tubers, welcome back to Maxwell Starr's Beer Review. Tonight we're going to take a look at something from a relatively new Brunswick Brewery that opened up last October 2017 at the time of this recording. God knows when I upload this video, but going to take a look at something from Holy Whale. Holy Whale / Buddha Bear coffee roasters. They're kind of like a coffee barista in the same building as a microbrewery in Alma, New Brunswick, which is right on the southern edge of Fundy National Park. I was just there for a camera club outing over the weekend and made it down there. I've had beers from them before, just never reviewed them on the channel. I'm gonna take a look at something. In a crowler. They just, I'm not sure if they started doing crowlers when they first opened or not, but either way, I'm glad to actually get a chance to try something like this. This is Machismo Cerveza, a Mexican-style adjunct lager, a North American-style adjunct lager, but I'm assuming it's Mexican-style, considering they call it a Cerveza. So 50% ABV, and there's a scribble on it that I'm not really sure what it means. I'm assuming that's like the bottling date, but it just looks like a bunch of lines to me. 9-1/ something. Anyway, Holy Whale Brewing, Alma, New Brunswick, Canada. Beer, return for refund, blah, blah, blah. Really not much to it. The first growler I had actually had like a sticker on the label with a Holy Whale logo, and I kind of like that better. I hope they do go back to the original growlers, but maybe they ran out of labels. This can's getting really sweaty in the humidity here, so let's crack this open. And perhaps appropriately, gonna give it a pour into my Miller Lite glass. So yeah, the last beer that I had from them, and I think the only beer I've had from Holy Whale so far was, Jesus, it's spilling. Okay. Anyway, the last beer I had was their Medusa Milk Stout, which I actually really liked, but I kind of wish I had reviewed it, but I only had the one can. Looking at that, actually, you know what? If you were to pour a glass of that into a Miller Lite glass with that much poofy, creamy head and sat it down in front of me, I'd probably assume it was Miller Lite, or at least some Miller product. That looks exactly like what a lager should look like. A nice, there's a little chill on the beer, so it's got this nice like condensation haze on the outside. Otherwise, it looks very clear, well carbonated, and an appropriately looking bright white sticky head. Looks very nice, actually. That looks very refreshing in a glass like that. Let's give it a whiff. So I get a hint of kind of a light metallic note, an herbal note. Not much else. Maybe a slight bit grassy. And maybe a little bit, I want to say corn sweetness. I suppose if it is an adjunct lager, maybe they did use things like corn and rice in this. But there is this little bit of like this corny sweetness to it. Oh, it really looks and smells the part. Let's put it down the hatch. Cheers. Oh, that's not bad. Bready, yeasty. Copper coin coming up through it. You get that toasted caramel, toasted corn, blending in with an herbal, metallic, copper coin kind of note coming up through the body. It's fresher and considerably has more flavor than you would get from like a Mexican Cerveza like Corona or Sol. But the flavors are right in line with something like that. It tastes just like a good lager should taste like. A lot of craft lagers don't have this nice, clean, smooth, easy drinking finish like this one does. Because usually when I get something from a craft brewery that's a lager, it's usually got this thick, heavy body and a weird kind of creamy finish. Like, I don't, maybe when I'm trying to think of a creamy finish, it almost comes as like a lactic kind of cream where it coats the throat, whereas this one here, there's a little of that, but for the most part, it just slides down the throat very nice and smooth. Wow, that's actually really nice. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still the the adjunct lager style. And I would say that if somebody handed you a glass of this and told you it was MGD, you'd probably be okay. Wouldn't question it. I mean, it doesn't necessarily taste quite like MGD. It's just you wouldn't care enough to analyze it enough to say that that's what it is or isn't. You just sort of believe it. That's nice for what it is. If you're looking for a good, sessionable, easy drinking lager from a craft brewery, just hard to go wrong with that. They've done their job really quite well. And I think the thing I'm most impressed about is how they got that finish to be smooth and easy to drink. Considering that they're a very young microbrewery who makes a multitude of different styles. A multitude of different styles that are mostly ales, and yet when they've tried their hands at a lager, a basic sessional lager, they've nailed it. Gonna give that a 3.75 out of 5, just because it's, when it comes to the style of an adjunct lager, that is well above average, but very fitting. So, like, if this were a Beer Analysis 101 episode, I'd probably give this like a 9 for the style. But keep in mind, when I rate it against other beers, like other beers of the style, I'd rate it lower because I find lagers in general boring. But I would consider this exceptionally above average for that pack. I would definitely drink that again. I mean, I would, if I had that readily available in bottles, I'd probably consider to pick up a 6-pack every now and then. Excuse me. That is really nice. I think that if Holy Whale does ever decide to can or bottle their stuff for the NB liquor stores, then this is one they should stick with, because that one, I can't see that being, like, say somebody is coming into the Holy Whale looking for something that's accessible to the modern, like the lager, your typical lager drinker, somebody who's used to drinking like Labatt Blue or Moosehead or Canadian. This is right up your alley. This is your standard fare. This is exactly what you want, and they've nailed the style. Anyway, thanks for so 3.75 out of 5 for that, and I'm gonna say thank you for watching Maxwell Starr's beer review. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this growler of this and not complain too much. I mean, personally, I'm not a huge fan of lagers, but I can't argue or complain with this beer. Anyway, thanks for watching. Talk to you folks later. Cheers.